night in Zion. There is no night there. No night in Zion. There is no night there. Hey, morning, I am morning again. Morning, I am morning. Share the life, share the life. This is a victory we can't allow them to have. Share the life. If there was no other day that I was determined to stay on this life. You hear me? Today is that day. Today is that day. Now listen up. I am backing down. Ali must go. Ali must go. Impeach the Guyanese president. That's my call this morning.
As pilgrims we're traveling through a land of sorrow and tears. Sorrow and tears beset on all sides by the world. It's disappointments and fears, troubles and fears, but let us not worry and
starting our program, we paying tribute to Eddie Lovett.
Yes, like I said, blessings. Big up yourself if you come early and you stay long. Don't worry then. We shall win. We shall win. We shall win. There is no tree without a fruit that lay by the spelt. Big up to the PPP for acknowledging the work that Kams TV is doing. Big up to the PPP. We know we got an under your skin. That is why y'all are at us. Hey, big up yourself. Y'all share the live. Let's make 5,000 viewers today. Live viewers. Let's make that. Let's show them that we will overcome. We got to win. We are winning. Somebody is saying that something about outside I want to say this categorically. This is not about the quality of the internet. This is about people in government. More particularly, there's a unit in the office of the Prime Minister. The same Afrocentric man, we name Soup Drinker, Mark Phillips. There's a unit that is overlooked by Kwame Shea in that ministry there. In the office of the Prime Minister. They monitor these programs. And they got a software, and they got a, software engineers and technicians and so on who use state resources to prevent people like you and I from speaking truth to power. So this is not nobody reporting us to YouTube and Facebook blocking us. If Facebook were blocking us because of our content or anything, we would have remained blocked for a while. Whether it's a one-day suspension or multi-day suspension. This is Facebook. This is the cabal, the criminal cabal. The mafia, the PPP mafia. Using states' resources and money to acquire software such as Pegasus and others. To interfere with programs like ours. Why is it there at Kams TV every single morning? Y'all could understand why? Fruit na tree na your fruit, little by na peltam. Because the message is impactful, it's bothering them. Miranda Brown, you could come and ask all kinds of crap whether I sign up with PPP for internet or not. No, sweetheart, I sign up with GT&T. I sign up with GT&T. But the PPP as a criminal cabal impacts everything in this society. And they bully everyone in this society, at least those who will take the bullyism. There's lots of evidence out there. 20-something police being sent to intervene on a private matter. Land issues are private issues in this country. That's an example of how they interfere in everything. But I'm not going to deal with that this morning. You're going to say trap me. This morning I'm saying that Irfan Ali must be impeached. Irfan Ali must be made to resign, be thrown out of the seat of presidency in this country. That's what I'm saying this morning. And y'all can't stand it, so y'all try to block the stream and everything. But the reality is, Kiraki Amsterdam, the Buxtonian morning time host, the Guyanese morning time host is saying to you, Ali must be impeached. Because he has breached the Constitution. And constitutional breaches have taken place under the leadership of Ali. Not one time, not two times, but several times. I'm also saying that Nandalal must go. Because Nandalal is guilty of abusing his authority by way of office as Attorney General in this country. That's what I'm saying this morning. And so y'all ain't prepared to face the heat. Let me chop the program. Let me stop it. Let me knock it off. Well, thank God I got a little bit of knowledge. I just try to help myself. So for a short term, I'm going to try to help myself. The PPP is a set of thieves and vagabonds. A set of lawbreakers. Lawlessness roams the land when the PPP is in government. Y'all ain't seen it? I see that they sent a troll earlier this morning. Another one come with a fancy name, whatever she name. Where she gone? Anyhow, I was saying this morning that the time has come for us not to only focus on poor policies of the government, because their policies are poor. Kit Nascimento say we ain't going no place regardless of all this oil money we got. The Jamaican economist and lecturer at the University of West Indies say we ain't going no place with all this money we got. Because they are weak institutions and poor policies. Yesterday I mentioned when somebody asked. Somebody asked yesterday if my YouTube page is monetized. And I said to him, in response, you can't monetize nothing in this country because it is a shithole country. To use the words of Trump. Shithole country. It is a shithole country because the institutions are weak. And the leaders are lawless and criminal. And Ali is lawless and criminal. And Anil Nandlal is lawless and criminal. And the old PPP, they are a set of lawless and criminal people. And so I think as simple as monetizing a YouTube or Facebook page because you're creating content, you're a content creator, and in other parts of the world you're paid for it. It can't happen here. You can't get payment. You can't receive payment via PayPal. You can't receive payment via any of the popular platforms. Because the owners and operators of those platforms are afraid of this lawlessness in this country. And this lawlessness is going to have an impact on them. And so they say fish rots from the head. And so if the country is lawless, check and see where the lawlessness starts. Ali, Nanlal, Jagdio, and all of them in the PPP, a set of lawless cooks. Under the PPP, Guyana was blacklisted because of the AML-CFT, anti-money laundering, countering financing of terrorism act. Guyana was blacklisted. Why? Because there was no stringent enforcement of any law to prevent people from laundering money, to prevent people from smuggling drugs, to prevent people from financing terrorism. And so Guyana was blacklisted. As a result of that blacklisting, Guyanese and Guyana suffered several consequences. There was a time when all the correspondent banks pulled out of this country. They pulled out, they disappeared. They said, not we wash our hands. Because we are not going to get caught in a trap where illicit funds find themselves in our banks and we are made to face the consequences for the pull out. Clytus interrupt us, they pull out. The coalition came and they fixed that situation. They eventually quickly got Guyana off the blacklist, and so much so to the extent that they were leading, they were chairing, I think through Basil Williams, one of the sectorial committees in the same AML-CFT configuration. We are back at a frightening place. We are back at a frightening place where people are concerned about the state of lawlessness in society. And again, you see people are starting to pull out, airlines pulling out, businesses pulling out. You see just yesterday the US issued an elevated security warning. Because they're concerned about the lawlessness in this society. I am saying the lawlessness starts with and stops at Irfan Ali. As illegitimate as he is as president of this country, the buck stops there. And so Ali must be made to go. Ali must be impeached. Because Ali has consistently breached the Constitution. When they disconnected us earlier, I was saying to you that there are several instances where Ali overlooked the breach of the Constitution. The Police Service Commission, headed by Findlay, Pastor Findlay, some people ask they don't know which God he's serving and which God he's going to face. Because I don't know that God is a God that embraces wrongdoing and so on. And if Findlay is a man of God or a man of the cloth, then he should distance himself from wrongdoing. But that's not the discussion this morning. So Findlay heads the Police Service Commission. A Police Service Commission which was improperly constituted. Because in order for you to have a properly constituted Police Service Commission, you must have a Public Service Commission, which chairman sits on the Police Service Commission. Right? So there can be no Police Service Commission that is fully constituted unless there is a Public Service Commission that is fully constituted. And the chairman of that Public Service Commission becomes an ex officio member, let's say, but becomes an automatic member of the Police Service Commission. And so you had a Police Service Commission which was functioning despite the fact, I don't even know if it has been fixed. I don't know if it has been fixed. But at the time it was functioning, not fully constituted. And so you have a situation where Ali, because it is Ali who appoints these commissions and empowers them, guided by the Constitution, of course, had a Police Service Commission which was improperly constituted, promoting servicemen and women in the Guyana Police Force to higher ranks, promoting them to leadership and management positions which will impact the functionality of the Guyana Police Force. And so a number of people, the Hickens and the Karambashes and the Butasses and the Caesars and all of those who are in the camp as enablers of this corrupt cabal of politicians were promoted. They were promoted by a constitution by a commission which was unconstitutional. And so their promotions were actually unconstitutional. And any president who sits and oversees that is aiding and abetting a breach of the Constitution. And so Ali is guilty of aiding and abetting a breach of the Constitution. As a matter of fact, when the matter went to court, as I remember, the courts ruled that the Police Service Commission, so constituted at that time, was illegal. And therefore their actions were illegal. But those promoted ranks, their promotions were preserved. Because in my mind, the court said, you can't punish the servant for the master's failing. You can't punish the servants for the master's failing. There is what they call legitimate expectation. Because they were promoted, they expected to stay promoted. And so let us deal with that. Well, we can deal with it because Ali and the PPP knew that they were executing an unconstitutional action. But for them, the end justifies the means. What did they want? They wanted the Butasses and the Caesars and the Hickens and Karimbashes as head of the police force. That's what they wanted. And so long as they got that, they don't care if they were in breach of the Constitution. And so when the law says you're not supposed to benefit from a crime that you committed, the Ali government benefit from a crime that they committed because those officers were left promoted. And sometimes I wonder why people don't take these things up to the higher courts, like the CCJ. Because I would have liked to see the CCJ ruling and say, well, because of legitimate expectation, these officers have to remain promoted. and disregard the argument that the government should not be made to benefit from the breach of the Constitution, because the law say, the criminal must not be able to benefit from the proceeds of his crime. But this Ali government is benefiting from the proceeds of its crime, and that crime is constitutional breach, overlooked by Irfan Ali. And Irfan Ali must go for that constitutional breach. The courts have determined that there was a constitutional breach. But that's not the only one. That is not the only one. There are others. Just last week, the Paul Slow matter with the Substantive Police Service Commission came up. And the justice ruled that Ali was in breach of the Constitution. And so Ali is a serial constitutional breacher. He's a serial criminal. And so if you're a serial criminal, why should we want a serial criminal to be at the head of our executive government in this country? And so the time has come for us to demand that Ali be made to vacate the seat of president in this country. And his advisors must go with him. This is a figment of my imagination. Am I inventing something? Can't be. I'm going to roll a tape. This is SGP 67, I think, reporting on the matter. Right? So this is a journalist reporting on the matter from the point of view of the court. And then we'll talk more about it. Not only was it reported on locally, but it was also reported on internationally. I can also quote those stories. Here is AGP 67. Where's my sound? Come on.
Required by the Constitution needed to consult. The judge also said that the president, as a condition precedent to suspension, as is required by the Constitution, needed to consult with the Judicial Service Commission for the establishment of a tribunal to examine the need for suspension. He said that the fact that there was no JSC in place at the time cannot be used as an excuse by the state. Given that the JSC has been defunct since 2017, the judge pointed out that the appointment of the new JSC is the president's burden to bear. Slow was represented by attorney-at-law Selwyn Peters, Dexter Todd, and Dexter Smart, while the respondents, including Prime Minister Mark Phillips and Attorney General Annie Nandlall, were represented by lawyers from the Attorneys General Chambers. Peters has indicated that he will be seeking significant costs from the respondents. As such, the judge invited the parties to file submissions on the issue. The matter has been adjourned until April 14, 2023. Paul Slow, along with previous members of the PSC who were suspended by President Irfan Ali in 2021, were challenging that decision. President Ali suspended the previous PSC in June 2021. After Slow, its then chairman, and several of its commissioners were slapped with fraud charges over payments allegedly made to them amounting to $10 million to revise the police force's raft of standing orders, which they allegedly never did. In June 2021, the PSC filed legal proceedings seeking a declaration that the suspensions of Slow and Commissioners Michael Somersall, Claire Jarvis, Vesta Adams, and Clinton Conway, all retired Assistant Commissioner of Police. Besides Patrick Findlay as chairman, attorney-at-law Mark Conway, and businessman Ernesto Chuofat and Haki Mohammed are the other members of the new PSC. They were appointed on May 31, 2022 by President Ali. The PSC is a body established by Article 137 of the Constitution and is vested with the authority to exercise disciplinary control over persons holding or acting in high office within the police force, or even remove them from office. The PSC also deals with the promotion of police ranks above the rank of inspector. Tiana reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Drinking warm water before bed shrinks a swollen prostate overnight. Thousands of men are regaining control of their bladder.
So there you have it. There you have it. This is a report Not from Kiraki Amsterdam, not from Kams Tv. This is a report from HGP 67. It quoted extensively what the judge ruled. And so since the courts found, remember there's separation of power. There's separation of power, and there's a reason why there's separation of power. That's why you got the judicial, you got the, I'm getting a little tired right now. You got the legislative, you got the judicial, and you got the executive. Those are the three arms of state. And so the judiciary has ruled that the executive has breached the law. And so if there's a breach in the law, there must be a remedy for breaches. And the remedy for the breach of the constitution of this country by any president is impeachment. And so Ali must go. We must insist that Ali goes and take his baggage with him. The Attorney General and those who are advising him and advising him poorly. Let's quote from the words of that very Attorney General who I'm talking about. This is an article in Guyana Times, dated October 17, 2016. And it's headed, Granger's constitutional heresy is grounds for impeachment. That is what Anil Nandlal said. October 17, 2016. Writing in the Guyana Times, the PPP Guyana Times. This article was published. Granger's constitutional heresy is grounds for impeachment, Nandlal. The constitutional heresy being practiced by the head of state, President David Granger, is grounds for his removal from office. And even more worrying is the silence of stakeholders such as Guyana Bar Association and Guyana Human Rights Association, GHRA. Stick a pin. The same GHRA, they're cussing out and pulling McCormack through the mud because he said recently under their governance that an EID card should have been taken to Parliament and it should not be single source. They need to go to Parliament and get consensus and go through the right procedure for it. That is the same GHRA head, Mike McCormack, who they were calling upon in 2016 to make a statement against Granger. Right? Duplicity. This is the view held by former Legal Affairs Minister and Attorney General Anil Nandlal. The former legal advisor to Donald Ramatar and Bar Jagdeo administrations was at the time making reference to the chronology of actions taken in relation to the executive's handling of the affairs surrounding the chairman of the Public Service Commission, Carville Duncan, chairman of another commission under Granger, Carville Duncan, Public Service Commission at the time. President Granger recently sent Duncan on leave from his constitutionally appointed post, despite the fact that he had already appointed a tribunal to investigate whether the PSC chairman should remain in the post or be removed. You recognize any similarity there? This is the chairman of a constitutional body being sent on leave. Granger sent Carville Duncan on leave, having appointed a tribunal to investigate. Ali suspended Paul Slow without a tribunal. So if there was anything to do with gravity, Ali's actions were graver a constitutional breach than Granger's, because Granger had actually established the tribunal as required by law. But in the instance of Ali, there was no tribunal because there was no Judicial Service Commission. But we'll continue that. According to Nandlal, the president has flagrantly violated the letter, spirit, and intent of some of the most sacrosanct constitutional provisions. And indeed, his actions strike at the very heart of our constitutional democracy. Presidents, or prime ministers as the case may be, have been impeached for far less in democratic countries. In Guyana, this is barely front page news. And life goes on. Not a murmur from the associations representing lawyers in this country. And that is what I'm saying. Guyanese have to start to pay more attention to the behavior of individuals in government while also paying attention to the policies of government. And so we had this ruling by the court that no less a person than your so-called President Ali breached the Constitution. But none of these civil society organizations, none of all of these worms that crawl out from the woodwork to condemn Takumo Ogunsi were in the lane recently has uttered a single word in condemnation of the President Ali for breaching the Constitution of this country. None of them. Nana Lal was making the same cries in 2016. He was saying, you all need to come out and Bombay's Granger for this constitutional heresy, as he called it. Duncan has been charged and placed before the courts over the alleged theft of some $20,000 per month, argued to be his fee as a director, and so on. I'm going to skip that. I want to get to the meat of the matter. The former AG laying a base for his arguments. In fact, Nanglal over the weekend added his voice to the fray to condemn the decision made by President David Granger, calling it unlawful and constitutional heresy. The former AG, laying a base for his arguments, contended that Duncan is a member and the chairman of the PSC, and by virtue of provisions of the Constitution, the chairman of the PSC is ex officio, a member of the Police and Judicial Service Commissions. According to the former Legal Affairs Minister, the PSC, like the other service commissions, are institutions created by the Constitution and endowed with the fundamental role and function of guarding against executive abuses. He argues that the commissions are a significant component of the most critical array of constitutional mechanisms created to protect the citizenry against executive and other excesses. According to Nanlal, it is for this very reason that those who constitute these commissions are themselves clothed with even greater security of tenure and institutional independence. To these persons, the Constitution accords the highest regime of protection and functional independence. According to the provisions cited by the former AG, save as otherwise provided in this Constitution, in the exercise of its functions under this Constitution, a commission shall not be subject to the direction or control of any person or authority. Constitutional protection. Nanlal maintains that as chairman of the PSC, Duncan enjoys all these constitutional protections. He posits that constitutional purists in Guyana and across the region must have been deeply shocked about certain disclosures Mr. Duncan made a few days ago, when in a public statement Duncan related that he was invited to meet with the president and so on and so forth. Waste the time for me. Let's go to this. According to Nanalal, by virtue of his actions, the president has simply shoved aside the sophisticated network of mechanisms of protection enshrined in the Constitution of Guyana. This constitutional heresy was compounded by the blood on the carpet reference, whatever that means. In short, the president has flagrantly violated the letter, spirit, and intent of some of the most sacrosanct constitutional provisions, and indeed, his actions strike at the very heart of our constitutional democracy, said Nanlal. Making his case for the impeachment of President Granger, Nanlal points to Article 94 of the Constitution of Guyana, which provides that the president may be removed from office if he or she commits any violation of this Constitution or any gross misconduct. Let me say it again. The president may be, according to Article 94 of the Constitution of Guyana, the president may be removed from office if he or she commits any violation of this Constitution or any gross misconduct. Right? These are the grounds. These are the grounds under which Nanalal was saying Granger should be impeached. These are similar grounds. These reflect similar actions of Ali. So the same thing the legal advisor to Ali was criticizing and calling for Granger's impeachment for are the same things which Ali is guilty of doing. But nobody is calling for his impeachment. Where are we, Guyanese? Are we asleep? You think that's all? Let's go. And I'm citing PPP sources in this morning's discussion to show, number one, their duplicity, and number two, how they conveniently embrace the lawlessness when they're in office. That is why I consider them a criminal cabal, a set of lawless people perpetuating and perpetrating lawlessness upon the Guyanese society. Here is an article considered, this is Irfan Karan writing in his weekly column, The Conversation Tree. This article was dated November 17, 2019. The Conversation Tree by Irfan Karan. The impeachment inquiry now going on in the U.S. House of Representatives and televised daily is as gripping as any psychological thriller. Alfred Hitchcock's famous film Psycho comes to mind. In the midst of the evidence of Mary Yovanovitch, the former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, who was described by President Trump in a telephone call to President Zelensky of the Ukraine as bad news, President Trump tweeted, "Everywhere Mary Yovanovitch went turned bad. She started out in Somalia. How did that go? Then fast forward to Ukraine, where the new Ukrainian president spoke unfavorably about her in my second phone call to him." Ms. Yanova, listen, I don't want all the backstory. Let's go. He talks about the U.S. Constitution and so on and so on. Let's go to, according to the constitutional framework, impeachment is the equivalent of filing the charges. The trial takes place in the Senate. The current speculation is that, like in the case of the impeachment of President Clinton in December 1998, support for impeachment in the U.S. Senate will not achieve the 60 votes in the Senate to convict President Trump. In the case of President Clinton, his popularity surged after controversial impeachment. There is some speculation that the same could happen in the case of President Trump. In Guyana, listen to what Irfan Karan says. In Guyana, the president can be removed for violation of the Constitution or gross misconduct. Article 180 states, if notice in writing is given to the Speaker of the National Assembly, signed by not less than 1/2 of all elected members of the Assembly, of a motion alleging that the President has committed any violation of the Constitution or any gross misconduct, and specifying the particulars of all the allegations, and proposing that a tribunal be established under this article to investigate those allegations, the Speaker shall cause the motion to be considered in 7 days. If the Assembly is not sitting, the Speaker shall summon it within 21 days and cause the motion to be considered at that meeting. No debate shall take place on the motion, but a vote shall be taken. If supported by no less than 2/3 of all elected members, the motion shall be declared to be passed. The Chancellor is then required to appoint a tribunal consisting of a chair and 2 members who are or have held offices as judges in the Guyana or Commonwealth. The tribunal shall investigate the matter, at which investigation the President is entitled to appear and be represented, and shall report to the National Assembly when it finds the allegations sustained. If the allegations have been substantiated, the Assembly may, by a 2/3 majority of all elected members, resolve that the President is guilty of violation of the Constitution or gross misconduct as is incompatible with its continuance in office. And if the Assembly so resolves, the President shall cease to hold office upon the 3rd day following the passage of the resolution. Guyanese would be given. Guyanese would be forgiven if they were to believe that Article 180 was inserted merely for decorative reasons. Because while it is difficult in the United States, it is impossible in Guyana. Prior to the amendments in 2000-2001, the provisions were much more stringent. For example, 3/4 votes were provided for, and the president could have dissolved the assembly if article was invoked. If both the House of Representatives and the Senate were in the hands of one party in the U.S., impeaching the president would still be possible. In Guyana, one party has to have a 2/3 majority. And since in our Westminster-type system, that would be the governing party, impeachment would be impossible. A president can blatantly violate the Constitution by ignoring a no-confidence motion and face no consequences. That is one reason why constitutional change is so vital in Guyana. These are the words of Ralph Ramkaran. He cites Article 80. And he cites Article 94 as to why Ali should be impeached. Because he is guilty of a constitutional breach. And that guilt is determined not by you and I, but it's determined by the court of law. It is determined by the court of law. And so I'm saying, when Ralph Ramkaran is saying it is near impossible to impeach a Guyana president because of the stringent requirements of 2/3 in the National Assembly, or half of the National Assembly, whichever it is, the people of France took to the streets. Because just like Ralph intimated that in the time prior to 2000 it was possible for the president to dissolve the National Assembly, Macron circumvented, invoked an article to bypass the votes of his deputies, to enact a law to adjust the retirement age. And the people of France took to the streets. Why are we in Guyana sitting in our living rooms, on social media, and not even making a single statement about this constitutional breach which took place, or these constitutional breaches which are taking place in this country on a daily basis? What are we? Dumb? Are we imbecilic? Or are we simply not paying attention? Or the people we entrust to lead, to observe, to identify when wrong is being done in this society, they're not doing a good job. Huh? Ali must go. He's guilty of breaching the Constitution, not one time, but multiple times. Guyanese must insist that Ali be impeached. It's as simple as that. There will come a time when we must have constitutional reform. The WP has always been a champion for constitutional reform. And like Ralph Ramkaran saying, actions like these and situations like these drive home the importance of constitutional reform. But we can only, or many of us would say, we can only fight one battle at a time. This is a battle that is worth fighting. And that is why I was determined to return here this morning, regardless of what them in the Prime Minister's office tell themselves. How many times they tell themselves they're going to knock me off. Desiree, I believe in parliamentary politics, but I have more faith in extra-parliamentary politics. The call for Ali's impeachment should not begin in Parliament. It should start on the streets of this city, the streets of this country. The citizens, the ordinary rank-and-file citizens, aided by their political leaders, should begin to cry on the streets of this country for Ali to go. And And when we have signaled our intentions and are being taken serious enough, then we shall take it to the House of the National Assembly. Don't tell me about wanting 2 crossover votes. I believe in crossover nothing. But I believe in people's power. And I'm saying the people of this country has a right and they have the authority. And if they stand firm enough in unity and strength, they will impeach Ali. And the whole damn PPP government. Ali must go. That must be the chant. The Working People's Alliance has asked for civil disobedience. And if there is any reason for being civilly disobedient, it is because the installed president has consistently been in breach of the Constitution. The lines are open. 9 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. The lines are open. Let's call and talk a thing on Guyanese morning time. I think we're going to kick it to 10 o'clock this morning. Just to show that, sometimes we just have to stick it out and stick it to them. 6225933 is the number to call. The lines are open. Coffee is back. Coffee has all his ducks lined up when it comes to constitutionality. And so I would welcome his input on this particular incident, this particular issue, the impeachment of Ali. The man must go. Call it live. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Kadaki. Good morning, all of us in Guyana and all of us in the diaspora. Your topic is right on target. The installed President Ali, Muhammad Ali, must be impeached. I totally agree with that. All the evidence is there. I'm glad that you're bringing it to the forefront that he must be impeached. As you said, Nandalal has grounds, impeachable grounds, right? So he should be removed. Jack Deo as well. Currently, in the United States, they're doing the exact same thing, where they're seeking to take Trump to court on the same grounds. I am glad that yesterday evening I heard on Politics 101, Mr. Saul, an Army officer, and brother from West Coast Bobbies, Brother Lincoln Lewis, speaking about the institute that they're starting up there, dealing with the law. And the Guyanese people need to understand more about the law. We've been talking about this for at least 18 months now, and you were talking about the law this morning. Everything is about the law. I would just like to put a word out there for Mr. Saul, if he's listening, and Mr. Lincoln Lewis, that one of the most important things, in my opinion, we need to impart in the Institute is the preamble to the Guyanese Constitution. We could spend an entire class, an entire week, just teaching the preamble. The first 4 words of the Guyanese Constitution starts with the possessive pronoun we. I spoke about that before, but I stress this again because now we are on the subject of the Constitution, more so. Because if you're going to tell people about constitutional rights, they must be able to see that the constitutional rights isn't something far away that they can relate to, but it's something dealing with them. That the we that the Constitution is talking about is the people. We must show them that the Constitution begins with the people, and the last word of the preamble is the people. P-E-O-P-L-E, people. That's all I wanted to say this morning. Once again, thank you for listening.
Thank you for your call. Lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. You tune to the Guyanese morning time. Call and let's talk the thing. Let's talk about the impeachment of Ali. Ali must go. He has breached the constitution. Nanlan must go. He's abusing his office as Attorney General. Call it live. Good morning. Call it live. Good morning.
Morning, brother, morning.
Morning, neighbor.
Morning. Morning, my neighbor, morning, my neighbor. Let me tell you, the fire going real. We ain't lifting no guns on them. We guns is word sound. And they gonna hit them hard. They gonna hit them hard. Conscious-minded Indian brothers and sisters, Amerindian brothers and sisters, black people. Let we open we eyes, let we listen to the word, let we listen to the sound. Share. Let we get this thing out. Share it as much. Smash the emoji button. This is time. These people, this elite is just a small crew, but about 5 of them, and they get the whole country uproar. These men could lie, they could thief, they dishonest, and they have no vision, they have no lightness, they ain't got no patriotism in them where Guyana is concerned. All the fitful is the thief, and the thing about it, they have nothing good to tell the people. You see how Jack Deal's go on? You see how Jack Deal good is go on at them meeting? Worse than a hen. That grass. Worse than a hen. They ain't got nothing. Them man could just stand up and lie way through just bare face and just don't care. Guyanese, we got to stand up and you see them like them lazy-minded black man. I hope people like James Bond, Hits and Jam, and them listening and see what's going on. You understand? The good thing we're going glad about where the opposition is concerned, you could see the balance inside, because if they didn't have the balance, people like the Indian brothers and sisters would have come out and talk against Ogonze as much as we were dissatisfied with them and how they put out. The fact is, you understand, that they could feel the comfort and feel the balance, that they could be able to air it how they think. They dare not do that. And none of them, the whole slave Mark Phillips and all them, dare not do it in the PPP. And Jack Deal jump up and all that, but them is of what the working class and people centered and them kind of thing. It's them alone that all them atrocities were coming down. I want to see people like Mark Phillips were coming down with the black man. People like Mark Phillips and them and One Angel and them big mouth One Angel. They can't talk. They gotta keep it to themselves, I think, but they will not make them for know that we Christ would did upon you. One angel, we Christ upon you, your wife, your children, your grandchildren. Same to you, Mark Phillips. On your wife, your children, we just were poor people, black people going through. I am making black people going through because of higher silence. Just what we feeling. Preaching it, and my brother, let me preach it, let me encourage people to rain the sky down and the cries on them and them children. Yeah, because we children forget kill out. and them kind of thing by this racist regime. Let we pray upon them. Let bad things happen to them and their children, let them wife here. The bad things must happen to them. They must reach up with bad ideas in the schools, on the road, in the transportation, some way. Yeah, because they can't send nothing. They can't get up for talk, nothing. Anytime they get up for talk, it's for talk against. It's for talk against the right things. They got for talk, and they just get sent. They can't come on their own. Joe Hamilton, all of them can't talk on their own. They just get sent. So, my brother, we got to continue carrying the fire. Now, why you do one thing for me, brother Kadaki, make sure you find back the tape with the little Indian boy who talking about pies, now black people, and them kind of thing. They could do for play it every time. Then we keep it in them ears every time. Every time, because if Gunze could attack and then even mention nothing about race and that kind of thing, and they try to roll you over and that kind of thing, well, we could do to put out, find it and put out and make sure you just go you just play the team song, the Guyanese morning song, let them be a part of it, play it all the time, what the little coolie boy say. It's just time with them, but we carry the fire, and they're going to hit them hard, my brother. They're going to hit them hard. Blessed love.
Thank you, caller.
Blessed love.
Voice note.
Kadaki, good morning. Even on YouTube, you're going off.
Alright, those are there. Voice note.
Good morning, Mr. Kadaki. I just want to highlight my views on some of the present events. Now, I was listening to Mr. David Hines and Ganesh Malik Paul the other night. And one of the things that struck me that I listened to is that when Mani Paul said that Mr. Jagyo said in his presence that Mr. Daniel Siram is a cutthroat. Now, how can you trying to say that you are for all the people
Why is this one stopping?
and because you feel that Daniel Siram is representing the African people interests because he might be in a political party that is predominantly African, and because of that, you see him as a cutthroat. Therefore, what you're telling your supporters, including the Africans that support the PPP, is that once an Indian support the African party, who you perceive to be, therefore they are cutthroats. So this whole thing about one Guyana, it is all political deception. There is no one Guyana, because if the Africans try to unite with the Indians, or the Indians try to unite the black with the blacks, and Jagdeo seem to have a problem with that. Therefore, this whole concept that they have, that they want unity and so, that is far from the truth. They're just trying to deceive the people, right? In front of the African people, you're speaking one language, and in the Indian community, you're speaking another language. So that is my take for now.
Calling live, good morning.
Yes, good morning to you and all my black brothers and sisters. Don't give up the faith. Help is on the way. I suspend myself 2 days from this program. But anyway, get to the point. Impeach. Yes, it is time. But the only way impeachment could come right now in Guyana, I'm calling him, Mr. Arby Norton still sleeping. He has to wake up. Mr. Arby is still sleeping. He making sun arise and catch him in his bed. And sun just make her get lazy, weak, and soft. Arby Norton have to make a phone call. He must make a phone call. Not for Flash Garden's sake. Make that phone call and save our young children saving school. Make a phone call and save teachers. Make a phone call and save the nurses and hard-working black people. That they must be respected by this government. That phone call Arbinati must make for the side grievance or whatever side. Don't even listen to those who advise you. For them children's sake in school, call Mr. David Hines and sit down with his family and sit down with him. And keep the biggest rally and come together. That is the only way impeachment could take place if those two parties come together today. And you will see result. Bonham, make a phone call. I can't remember the party name. What Bonham join and put Jagan out of power.
The same party Matthew that he come from. The TUF.
That man did not call Bonham, to my understanding, and then read. Bonham made that phone call because he wanted to safeguard every Guyanese, especially black people, in the time from Sedi Jagan on. Abinati made that phone call for them school children and teachers and nurses and hard-working workers. Made that phone call for them young soldiers. Made that phone call for them young police officers. Don't let the beast take them away and inject that wicked criminal activity from them cabal. It is time, Adina, to wake up and call your name. I'm not bambasing you. I'm telling you, we all talk about Bonham every day, every year. Bonham do good thing, but the one good thing you are not doing. Y'all is not represent him. Come together and you will see result, because Bonham received result after he made that phone call and come together and put Jagan out of power. I want to move on a piece too. Thank Mr. David for what he put in front of my friend Ganesh. I told Mark his friend because I love Ganesh. When he speak true. He know he speak, and he's a young politician, but he doesn't know politics and politics. What he did, what he doing last, now he's supposed to do first. But Mr. David, I showed him the way. Remember they say, some black people like Mr. was away. He bambasing my sister, and he forget his black vote, put him inside there, majority black vote, you the word. I see he smile, he come to himself, and so he's saying in my mind, yes, you should have called my black sister one day and said, look, you mentioned something, it offends me, but anyway, I know you already were going on and thing that. He would have, and I know my sister would have said, okay, I apologize, I'm sorry if I offend you. Because, yes, words offense all of us. And Michelle one would have said, I'm sorry, I apologize. He killed two birds with one stone there. He keep the love for him from towards black people to him, and Rwanda would have tell him I'm sorry if I apologize to him. Like two birds, he would have killed. These people have to know one thing, and I'm telling this to all black leaders and MPs. Never tell a black man let them go overboard or too far. When they seek the truth, when we're in the lane parking about land, my grandmother teach me this at 9. She said, don't let all people get these four things. Land, power, money, and they love to kill black man. Keep away power from them. They love to kill black man and they love land. Jagan said, they said, if that's Guyana lie, Jagan tell people them, own the land and you will own the country. Fine print the deal. Whatever you have to do, forget the land, do. If you have to kill black men for the land, punish them, destroy them, do it and own the land. He preached the word Apartheid, and is that what Indian people living today with, Apartheid, that word. And that word is killing that country between black and collie. There will never be peace. I use the word, never be peace. It is time for Adinati make that call. I'm saying that don't make the fat garden. Make it and save our country, save our young generation. they fall in the hands of the beast, the 666, the mark of the beast in that view. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your call. Lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon. Thanks to Flash and the thing. With the call that you're making, I'm glad it is being made. That's something, but I could remember, and I know that would have happened with all these people who assisted to put the regime in. I know they are all the same, because if the outer world could be sending directive who got to come back, they want the people in it. I hope Sarah Lynch and the ABC countries are happy at their full the implanting of the fraudulent regime. They did not know that that is what would have happened to them. They are all ashamed. I understand that Ali is supposed to be going up to the States by June. That is if he's still in power. And coming back to Ali, I could remember lots of African people in this country used to say, you know what, Ali's a good man, but it's Barrett for leading him. I wonder what is the thing about Ali now. And what they got to remember, that is how Ali would have behaved, because I'm not degrading their religion, but if you look at a true Muslim believe in jihad, and in jihad, they wage war against anybody for anything. So I know that Ali was just waiting on the time to pounce. And now Ali is in the pouncing time. Anyway, that call for protesters. Oh, yeah, don't let me look in. Come out and protest. Now I shared something with you where they're dumping a lot of drugs and so at the back of Queenstown region too. Now when you have drugs and your drugs expire, you don't dump it in the open like that. Because there are people who would scavenge that same area, bring it out, dust it off, and put it and sell it back to people. Discarded and expired drugs is being destroyed by fire, because people will recircle that drug back into the society and create havoc on people. The last thing is that they went into Perico. They removed the set of people. A little while before that, the market burned down. And now on the same hand where the market is, they are removing people off the ocean line. So you understand now what is going on. They remove people from prominent and locations where they could enhance their own businesses.
The horror stories.
Profit. But Guyana continue. Everybody watching at you. And as that caller say, our cries are going up and they are being heard. And the last thing, now if we are talking this race thing, we say Indians, we say Chinese, we say Portuguese, Americans, and we call ourselves blacks. No, we're Africans. Because if it's a problem to call anybody other than those names that I call we Africans. Don't matter what, we are Africans. And the thing that you opened the program with, I had problem with the Great Fiber, no connectivity till what o'clock. Anyway, and I just said something on life, and it was taken down, and that was not Facebook that took it down. It had to be the cabal who is interjecting on people's matters to destroy them.
so that you who are speaking truth to power, it must not go out into the world. Now, when Bartlett is calling for his people to have access to Facebook and make valuable points about PPP, they have access to Facebook. But when they go on Facebook, they tell people to kill them out, poison the Greens, do this. They do have access to Facebook. But it's the content, what they are putting out in Facebook, that is helping to bury the PPP deeper than how they buried those people, animals, and items in Moko. The content, what they are putting out, it is destroying them as a party. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Voice note.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam and fellow conscious-minded Guyanese people who are watching this or listening to you this morning. The call for the removal or the impeachment of Ali, I do support the cry. And I need our people to be more wise and knock heads together and see that the only way out is for us to sound that voice. Let us rally around you, the leaders, those who are doing it. For me, I am crying out loud. I'm crying from zero so that we can become heroes in our country. We the people. It's not I, we the people. Anand Nandalal, they tried that, they did it with President Granger, and leave this article on the television, let it show all the time, and let me circulate it, and let people understand that when we are speaking, we're not speaking with a split mouth. This is what the PPP did to President Granger, that nasty, vindictive man that we have in there that is using his powers, his legal powers, and want to destroy people. But he wants to destroy people who are against their operation. Guyanese people, yeah, rise up. Let us stand up and let us sound the alarm. Ali must go. Good night, bye.
Thank you for that voice note. Thank you for that voice note. Ali must go. Impeach Irfan Ali now. That's my one call. Impeach Irfan Ali now. Constitutional breaches, there are remedies. One of them is impeachment. In fact, it's perhaps the only remedy in the instance of this installed president.
Good morning, Kidaki and listeners. I agree with you 100% that Ali needs to be impeached. However, I'm a bit miffed that the opposition leader always seems to be several steps behind. For what reason, I don't know. He should be hot on this topic. You need to beat the iron while it's hot. And he seems to be in some kind of malaise. Always taking a long time before he can get to this stage. He really needs to, do something about that. He needs to be more active. Now since Paul Slow, they won their case, that is a chance to jump on the bandwagon and cry for Ali to go. But where is he? Next week he's going to come out with a statement. Now is the time. Thank you.
Thank you for that voice note. I lead in my own opposition. I don't know about y'all. Call A Live, good morning.
Yes, Mr. Kadaki.
Coffee
Earlier, I did not know. Yes, sir. Here is why, if it's possible. Because the show had some disturbances and you were knocked off, I figured, well, let me just cut it short. And, but when you said later that you're going to go until 10 o'clock, I said, well, shucks, I should have.
Please get to the point.
Good, thank you. Now, in law, Ali has already done enough to be impeached. In law, it says that those who break the law shall be held accountable to the law. If someone was to break the law in Big Market, they will have to feel the full justice of the courts. Ali is no different. Ali is not above the law, and the court in the recent hearing just said that. The recent case you just talked about said that he is not above the law. So that's one evidence. Evidence number one, that the precedent has been laid by the court last week that Ali is not above the law. Okay? Secondly, we're looking for evidence to show that Ali is a lawbreaker, and lawbreakers must be impeached. Point number two, Ali went down to Makkah and told the people in Makkah that forget about local government elections. Forget about the law. Forget about the articles of the Constitution that says local government has procedures, have elected officials. Ali said, to hell with that, I'm going to jump over that and go straight to the people. That's violation number two. Okay? Now, an added part to that violation, the PPP have been accused by 4 administrations in the United States that the PPP are the greatest violators of universal suffrage by denying Guyanese people local government elections, and they did it for at least 18 years. Colin Powell said it. Condoleezza Rice said it as Secretary of State. John Kerry said it. And Hillary Clinton all said it. And the last ambassador that came to the United States, Mr. Brent, on July the 4th, 2013, said the people should rise up. Enough is enough. And remove Ramatar, remove the PPP for the denial of democracy, denial of giving the people the right to vote in the local government elections to decide the outcome of how they are governed in the democracy. The PPP is guilty of that, and Ali came back in Makkah and continued that to say, in your face, I'm going to continue to deny local government elections. So that's the supporting evidence, substances to substantiate that Ali is a repeated violator of the Constitution. The job of the police, the oath of the police officer, is to uphold and protect the Constitution. So we should be focusing our arrests, warrants on Ali, because he is the greatest violator of that which you report to work to do. Same goes for the GDF. Ali swore to protect and uphold the Constitution, and he is busy himself violating the Constitution. Ali has a tendency, a proclivity of violating the Constitution before he was president. Now, I know this is before, but this just speaks to his character. Ali surrounded Mr. Lowenfield. And Mr. Lowenfield said, it's my decision to decide how these votes are determined and evaluated and validated. Ali surrounded and says, well, maybe you could move it here. You should do this. You should do that. Ali, Robeson Ben, Jacques Dio, and all of them surrounded Lowenfield. Ali has a tendency of violating the laws of Guyana, and that's why he was on the scene trying to overthrow or overturn that lady's car, that minister's car. So we've got before proclivity or tendencies to violate the laws of Guyana. We've got charges of him in the court before, 19 fraud charges. And to say that he had that behavior before, and even when he came in, he continued. It's called a systematic proclivity to facilitate crime. That's Ali. Now, Roxanne George, as the justice, came and And she said, I want to speak for the record that President Ali, she was talking to Nandalal, but she's talking to the executive branch. That means Ali is responsible as the executive. She accused the executive of not employing or adhering to the Constitution to implement the commissions. And Ali has shown his willingness to stagnate, to deny implementing constitutional clause and mandates with regards to commission. We can name the several commissions which have not been implemented, and Ali's job, according to the Constitution, not Nandalal's job. The Constitution says that the president must consult meaningfully with the opposition leader. So far, the opposition leader has bent over forward and backwards to reach out to Ali, and Ali has thus far denied the Constitution. Evidence shows by this that Ali is a harm to the Constitution. He frustrates the Constitution. He denies the Constitution from acting as intended, and therefore that is further evidence that he is going against his oath. Now, as you said, Mr. Amsterdam, this is an issue partly for the opposition to take to court, for the opposition whip, Christopher Jones, but not only Christopher Jones and the opposition. We, the people, possibly by way of referendum, okay, we just had a referendum in Mexico the other day, several referendums around the world. We, the people, can push for a referendum. Currently in Suriname, I've been getting much news that the people of Suriname are asking for Santoki to go. And you know what's one of the complaints, Mr. Kadaki? That Santoki and Irfan Ali and Santoki's wife, who is a Guyanese, have been fleecing Suriname people. So it's not only that we want Ali to go. The people in Suriname are saying that the Suriname president, Santoki and Ali, are working together to fleece Suriname and Guyana. And they currently, as we speak, last week, there have been protests in Suriname to remove and impeach Ali. They want him to go to jail. Not Ali, Santoki. They want Santoki to go. They want him to go to jail. They want his Guyanese wife, who's been involved in stealing the money and building some big hotel in Guyana. They want her in jail. So there's a great similarity between Santoki and Ali. There's a nexus happening. And if Guyanese aren't aware, go on YouTube and see what's happening with regards to Suriname's president. They want him in jail coming up this week. Impeachment. You know, one of the greatest signs we could see is when the Justice Department comes before the nation and says, hey, there are certain laws that should have been implemented. Now, the PPP has been in there for at least 3 years, almost, and haven't implemented them. Therefore, the judiciary is complaining. Now, I said before, you've got 3 branches. When you've got the judiciary, who is charged with the responsibility to decide whether the presidency installed or the executive branch is acting in accordance with the Constitution. That's the job of the judiciary. Whether the executive branch of the president's office is acting in compliance with the Constitution. And the report came from Roxanne George's mouth. She says the judiciary is absolutely dissatisfied. And she wants it to be on the record. She said that. The chancellor said that much. And then the Guyana Bar Association, headed up by Pauline Chase, came out and said that much. So we've got a multiplicity of evidence that renders Irfan Ali as a major violator of the Guyanese constitution. Now we should not hesitate another week to get condign action. And if Cameron Norton doesn't want to go to the street, here is something that Cameron Norton can do. If he doesn't want to protest, at least he, as the opposition leader, has the constitutional mandate and authority. At least he can do that. To take this initiative to Parliament for the record, and then let us take it the remaining distance in the street.
Thank you, Kofi.
Once again, thank you for listening, and thank you for affording me the time.
Thank you. It's 11 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. We have voice notes to play and so on. And Kofi, thank you for that.
The president gonna breach the constitution on a sensitive matter like this, like the Police Service Commission, who is responsible for peace in the country, who is responsible for the entire security and our safety, and the president gonna break the law and twist it and do what he wants because it seems like if he is above the law. I want to sit in an office and act like all is normal. No, we call for the impeachment of the president. Anil Nandalal already explained when Granger was in power, so I stand by Anil Nandalal's explanation of the law. I think he interpreted the law correct. Let the president be impeached. The PPP is a racial party, and Jack, do you know it? Listen, don't take my word for it. Go on Ali Facebook page. Go on Jack Dio Facebook page. Go on PPP Facebook page. You know the one thing you're going to see, the only common denominator, whenever they have a function, majority of the people in the crowd is Hindu Guyanese, but yet on the Facebook page, majority of people that they put up on the page is black people. Every black person, every African person, you could see them on the Facebook page that attend these functions. But you don't see all the Indian, and the Indian are majority. It is to show that they want to put on a smoke screen. They must be talking to the international community because we on the ground, we know the party is racial, and them themselves know the party is racial. If they didn't know the party was racial, why they always highlighting the black people that go to every single meeting? Go and check. They have the history, the record is right there on all of them Facebook page. Go and check it for yourself.
Thank you for that voice note. Call you live. Thank you for holding.
Good morning, Kadaki. Very good morning, Kadaki, and to the people who are listening. Now, I do agree that Irfan Ali needs to be impeached. But what does the law say about the impeachment of a president in Guyana? Don't they have to have a 2/3 majority?
50%. 50% of the parliament.
Right. I don't see under the sun where you will find one crossover vote from the PPP.
Caller.
That will make the 2/3. Yes.
Caller, I said it earlier to somebody who made a note that we need 2 crossover votes. I think one of the mistakes we continue to make in this country is to believe that everything can be dealt with in parliament. There are extra parliamentary measures. And I'm saying that every citizen of this country should be on the streets like they were or are on the streets in France.
Yes.
Demanding that Ali go. And then we shall take it to the parliament.
Kadaki, we are talking about Guyana. The 80,000 square miles. That's what we're talking about. We talk about France. We talk about Israel.
Caller.
We talk about Guyana.
Caller.
They were only
Caller.
They were talking in the background.
Caller.
Yes.
I am tired and fed up of hearing why it can't be done. I want to hear why it can be done and how it can be done.
No, I'm not saying it can't be done. I am saying, given those people we have in Guyana, They will only talk it. When time comes for action, everybody will just look to see who will bell the cat. Rhonda Lane spoke about it. She got them, literally begged them to come out in the street to protest. Literally begged them for something so serious. You gotta beg them to get Fat Boy out of office. They will just yap them out. They won't come out. That's the thing. So I am asking, what more do they need to have to get the gall or the balls to come out and do what is necessary? That's the problem. We identify all the flaws in the government. We identify all the ills Ali and Jagdeo and company are doing. But yet, you need to get something to drag them out of the homes. They wouldn't come out. That's the stinking and the saddest part of Guyana. The people know everything is not going how it's supposed to be going. And they would not do anything but sitting back and talking about their jobs would be in peril, etc., etc. Or they're frightening the guns and Hickins and company. I don't understand what's going on there. How much more of this should Guyanese be taken before we can open the eyes? Thank you. You have a wonderful day, Kadaki.
Thank you for your call. When Alan Nandla called for the impeachment of David Granger, did you hear him say why it can't be done? Yeah, I gotta stop this thing.
Good morning. So I get into the program. One message I want to say to you is that everybody praising Ali. You don't praise a man for doing his job, for doing what he's supposed to do. And Ali's a good man. What good man? Ali and Jagdeo, they are a basket of the same food, brethren. They are the same. Jagdeo realizes he's public enemy, and he put Ali. But you don't make a difference. They are the same. And people need to wake up.
Thank you for that voice note. Last this call? Well. The lines remain open. It's 5 minutes to the 10 o'clock hour. I did say we are going to go to the 10 o'clock hour. We can take another call or voice note. Remember, on the 15th of July, we have that celebration there. Yeah, 3 years strong we're going to be. Kams TV is getting to 3 years in July. I'm getting to my jubilee in July by God's grace. Come, let's celebrate on the 15th of July. Yes, let's have a good time. They say all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Well, I've been working hard for the last 3 years, so come, let's celebrate. Let's have a good time. On the 15th of July, yes, it's the anniversary gala. 3-course dinner and dance. Check it out on the 15th of July. Start to make those reservations. Those of you who want table specials, indicate so we can ensure that we have them available for you and so on. At 4 minutes to the 10 o'clock hour, you tune to the Guyanese Morning Time. I'm your host, Kidaki Amsterdam, and we're talking about what's happening in this country. And like I'm saying, Ali should be impeached. I didn't have to make the case all over again. Nandlal made a case in 2016. Nandlal argued in 2016 that because Granger, in his mind, breached the Constitution, and he laid out why he believed that breaches in the Constitution took place, should go. And note, it wasn't the court that ruled that Granger was in breach of the Constitution when Anil Nandlal said that he should be impeached. But in 2023, Justice Gino Prasad ruled that Ali, the sitting president, is in breach of the Constitution. And so he should be impeached, because that's the remedy for constitutional breach by the president. Call it live. Good morning.
Hi, kid. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, my contribution today is, I've been saying this thing since last year or the other year before. Why is Ali, how come Ali got into parliament and he got to be a presidential candidate with 19 fraud charges? That's what I want to know. I can't understand this in Kadaki, because in any other country, once you are charged with any charge in the police station, you cannot go up to be a presidential candidate. because that is against the law. And I don't understand why this man is not being impeached. I talk about it several times. You know what these people turn and tell me? Oh, he wasn't convicted and it wasn't proven. He wasn't proven guilty. I was like, what? He still had the charges. The charges were there. 19 fraud charges. How can a man with 19 fraud charges become a president of a country? That is not right. That is against the constitutional law. And I think he should be impeached for real. This time they need to look at that because the PPP take their eyes and pass the Guyanese people. And you know what? The PPP will do damage to this country more than what is going on right now. It's going to get worse, Kadaki. And the people don't see it. The people is not coming out and stand up for their rights. They're just taking everything that this man is doing. And Ali is Jagdeo's puppet. Jagdeo's puppet because Jagdeo has him by strings and he is pulling the strings. He's controlling that puppet. And nobody cannot tell me any different because Jagdeo is who's the one running this country, not Ali. And these people, the Guyanese people need to stand up. Army Norton and the opposition need to step up now because it is imperative that they step in and do what they gotta do because in other countries you're seeing everybody is taking steps for their rights. The citizen of the country is who put these people there, and the citizen of the country is the one who has to take them down. If they're not doing their job, they are to be taken down from power in parliament. I think that is the only way we have to strike, and they don't know what is unity. I've been talking about unity for so long. We, the people, have to put our differences aside and unite as one and fight these wicked demonic cabal. According to Sir Hamilton Green, he said, it is not democracy, it is demon gone crazy. Anyway, Kadaki, do have a good day. Take care.
Thank you for your call. It's 10 o'clock. It's time for me to go. Thank you for your patience this morning. Thank you for tuning in to the Guyanese Morning Time. Thank you for sharing it live and continue to share it even after we sign off. I'll take his final call. Call it live.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam.
Good morning to you.
Mr. Amsterdam, you don't think now is the time, right? With all that Ogonzi and Mr. Ogonzi said, okay? And now is the right time for Mr. Norton to stand up because he have a great reason to stand up now and bring the people out. And I don't know what he's doing. I don't know is the right time for him to make a step. All right? That's my take.
Thank you. To each his own, Arby Norton shall determine his own salvation. But I want to say if there was any time when the opposition leader and the opposition in Arby Norton and the PNC and so on could really count on the support of the people is now. I think this is the time. Hold call. This is the time.
Yeah.
When
Thompson here.
hold the line, please. This is the time when the opposition, including the leader of the opposition, should really call on the people to do what is necessary to hold this government accountable. I think it is my feeling that the people are at that point where they're ready to be battle ready, according to the call of the WP. This is not a time to watch who makes the call. This is a time to watch what is important and necessary at this point, this junction in this society. This illegitimate government is about to enter Guyana into a $13 billion US debt. Can you imagine? But a president that is consistently breaching the Constitution. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Caller, you're live.
Kadaki, you can hear me?
Yes, sir.
You can hear me?
Yes, sir.
I second that. I'm going to second that. This is the time for the opposition to make the move. America is looking. They came out with a statement last week. This is the time to move. End game. End game. Guyanese, if you're listening, this is the time to move. America is watching. Get it done. Later.
Thank you for your call. I don't know what else people are waiting for. I don't know what else people want. I don't believe in this naysaying business that it's difficult. It's not impossible. Difficulty is not impossibility. Difficulty is not impossibility. As it would appear, WPA is leading the way now. Have a good day. I get in another call. Oh, that one is not for y'all. This is me. Goodbye. Have a great day. Share, share, share. Ali must